I've made this rock, and this was just actually box modeled. I don't like to use spheres. A lot of people will use spheres and add a noise modifier to them, but I think that just looks like chewed up bubble gum. So in this case, I've made a box, and I've used my smoothing groups to kind of make the top here look like it angles off on the sides, and I've pulled the sides down. But it's a very simple mesh. I'll go over here to edged faces, and you can see that it's really a fairly simple mesh. I've put a mesh smooth on it just to smooth it out a little bit. Without the mesh smooth, it's pretty angular. Okay, and I've already made some textures for this, so we're going to pick it up here after it's been multi-subbed, after its texture coordinates have been added. And we're just going to talk about the seams and the final steps here. Right now I've got a plain material on this. If I jump over here to this pre-made multi-sub and drop it on my rock, you'll notice that it is multi-sub, so I have two surfaces. I have a side and a top, and the top has a few little sides here as well. And this is my multi-sub material with the textures in it. We'll go ahead real quick and take a look at these textures. This is the first texture, the sides. You can see I've got some dark areas that are going to sit down underneath this rock. This is towards the top up here. And I've got another map that has the top. The top is right in this area, and we have a few other little side pieces. So they're all mapped already, and if I apply this to my rock, you'll see that the bottom pieces here are darker, and I've got some kind of layered rock going up the side, and I have this big flat piece here. And again, the multi-sub's been covered in the other videos. That making the texture's been covered, so you might want to go back and review those if any of that was confusing. Now, get back to perspective view. The mapping up here is a little bit tweaked. You can see it's stretched right in this area, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. I'm going to go to Unwrap UVW, which brings up my seams. You can see I've got some chewed up seams right through here. Not the best seaming. How about we'll look at it from the other side. A little bit prettier from the other side. And I'm going to make sure that face is selected here, and I'm going to select a few faces. This is a good little trick, and then hit grow, this button, and kind of grow those faces out to select as many as I can from the top. And what this does is it allows me to grab a lot of faces quickly, and then all I need to do is just go back in and add the faces that I want and subtract the faces I don't want, and I don't have to click on hundreds and hundreds of faces here just to get this top piece. There we go, and then we'll deselect the pieces that we don't want. And there we go. I could select through this and turn off, I could turn off ignore back facing and just select through if I wanted to. There we go. We'll get this little piece there. These guys need to go. Get a better angle here. Okay, and now we have the all the polygons from the top. And we're going to deal with the mapping on that. So we'll go to Edit. We want to turn on all of our normal stuff over here so we can see what's going on. We're going to go to Filter, Selected Faces, so we just see that face. We're going to go get our map so we can see it. I'm going to go to Options and turn the brightness up on my map so again I can see it. And I'm going to turn off Tile Bitmap. So now we're back here where we're used to being. And what I'm going to do is try and map this piece a little bit better. Thinking how I want to do that. I think what we'll do is try and pelt map this guy. There we go. I'm going to hit pelt, and our planar map, I'm going to hit best align. Turn this off for a second. So pelt map, best align, and I'm going to go to edit pelt map. There we go. This is going to get us a little bit better fit, I think. Remember, if you can't see those red dots around here, it's this button right here. It's left over from having faces selected. And I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll work. And now I'm going to turn all of this off. And I'm going to shrink this down to fit in the middle. Right about there, I believe it was. I'm going to rotate this a little bit. Making sure it's not crashing into anything. I've got a bottom piece down here. And I think what I'm going to do is exit out of here and go back into Edit, and we'll filter selected faces. And take a look at this guy, make sure that he's comfortably sitting in there. We want it as big as we can get it without it interfering with any other piece. I think that'll probably work pretty well. And now if we turn off face, we have a nicely mapped top to our rock that doesn't have any stretching on it. Okay, at this point I'm going to leave these seams down here. Right now they're not hurting what I want to do to move on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this rock. Make sure we're in the right one. There we go. We'll save it as _2. How about _B? And I'm going to export this as a 3DS file. And I'm going to go over into a program called Deep Paint, which we've popped into 1 or 2 times. And I'm going to fix these seams. And again, you could fix the seams in Photoshop, especially with it being a rock. It's not a big deal. But it's hard to tell where those seams are on my map. And so I'm quickly going to export selected. I'm going to call this just rock. It's going to be a 3DS file because that's what Deep Paint's going to read. Deep Paint's an older file, program. In fact, it's not even really supported much anymore. I'm going to hit save. And I want to preserve the max coordinates, the texture coordinates. And it's going to rename my rock in this case. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. And now I'm going to pop over to Deep Paint. And here we are. Deep Paint 3D. I'm using version 2.0. And I'm going to go to File, Open, if I remember how to do this. And we want my file I just made, which is over here. Oh, wrong spot. Oh, got to get the right spot here. There we go. Okay, and rock. That's the one we want. Okay, and it's going to want to know where these files are. And so we go back over to our folder. Okay, and we were looking for which one? Was it the sides? I think the sides. And this one. Okay, and then we're going to hit OK. And there's our rock. It looked like it came in okay. Yeah. And our rock is now in. All we're going to do is, I'm just going to use this clone tool right here, and I'm just going to clone it. There are some pretty simple little controls here. I'm going to make a smaller brush. And all I'm doing is just cloning around the edge so that the texture is going to match up with the top. It's a really simple way of dealing with seams. You can see we've got some issues over here. We'll just clone over those. It doesn't have to be exact. We're going to be able to get it over into Photoshop anyways, but you can see we can clone right around the corners there so that it's going to be nice and seamed up. There's a problem right here, so we'll just seam this guy up. It's pretty good already. We don't need to do a whole lot here. And all it's really doing is just sampling areas from your texture map and just cloning them, just like a Photoshop clone brush does. It's not bad there. Don't really like this big spot here, so I'm going to kind of clone over that. No, that's a little better. I don't like this spot here. You can paint directly on the models with this program, which makes it nice to use. There we go. Just kind of filling in some areas. Okay, and I think our rock looks pretty good there. Put some dark down on the bottom. I've got some areas right here I'm going to get rid of. You can clone over one area and then affect another, so you want to keep moving it around. I think that's plenty good. Now we don't need the model. The model is a 3DS. We already have our Max model. So what we're going to do is save all maps. And I'm just going to hit this button. It's going to ask us what we want to save it as. I'm going to save them as Targas. And then the directory should be right where we brought them from, the original directory. And I'm just going to hit OK. Now it saves the map. I'm going to minimize this. And if we go check our directory here, it saved our maps as these two. And you'll see that it's got a little backup extension here. So what I'm going to do is make a new folder, call that Old Maps. And I'm going to take my original two Targas and move them down. And then I'm just going to delete that BAK and make these guys Targas. And if we hop back over to Max, we're going to need to reload these maps, but they are called the same thing. Sometimes they actually kick in. Let's see if they've... Maybe it did. I'm going to collapse this UV map on here. And I think it already did. Yeah, it already did. Because they're named the same thing, it's now, it just reloaded those maps into place. So this is all done at this point. The next thing I'm going to do is hop over to Photoshop. I'm going to close Deep Paint here. I don't need to save anything. All I need is the map. I'm not after the model. And I'm going to hop over to Photoshop now. And we'll do our our normal map. Alright, here's our two rocks, and for the most part we've got our darker areas are the lowest. So let's see how this normal maps. Three by three, we've got 8 there, that's not bad. Alright, I think we'll do that. That's pretty good looking. And we'll do the same thing over here. Same settings, so it matches up. Okay. We'll save these two as our normal maps. I'm going to save these as TIFF files. And we'll put an extension N on them. Okay. And this one is save as. Alright, and back over to Max. And we're going to go into each of our slots here, and under bump we're going to go to normal bump, and under normal bitmap, and we'll go find our normal one. Which one are we on here? We're under, I think we're on rock, the sides, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, just checking. I forgot which normal I was loading into which slot. Bump, normal map, or normal bump, bitmap, and top. Okay, let's make sure we got that right. That's top, and that's sides, okay. And our normal is on there now. And on each of these, I'm going to make this rock slightly shiny. So a 19. We want the shininess to be the same in each setting here. And we'll go ahead and render that. And there's our rock. And it looks pretty good, I think. So our rock's all done and normal mapped. I don't like that specularity. I think I'm going to turn the specularity off. That's on there. I can do a better job with the lighting later, I think. Yeah, looks a little bit better with the specularity off. But our rock's all done, and I'm going to go ahead and use this in the final scene. So you'll see it back again once we get